Welcome back to my channel, Stitching in High Heels. This is my little corner of the internet where I talk about my cross-stitch journey and all the other crafty adventures I tend to get up to. If you're new here, welcome. I hope you see something you like and that you'll like the video, subscribe, come back, and keep up with what I'm working on. And if you're a returning friend, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate both the new people and especially my returning viewers. It is Saturday, January 24th. Sorry, had to stop and think about that. Just about 2 o'clock in the afternoon here in the Catskills area of New York State. Currently it's sunny, but it's cold. We have a feels like temperature of -7 out there, which is a little unusual for us. But if you're in the United States, I'm sure you've seen the weather forecast that everybody's going to be cold, and we're going to get supposedly a giant storm with, anywhere between 12 and 18 inches of snow in this area. So we're all kind of getting ready, getting used to the cold today. We'll see what happens. If you're in the south where you're getting icing, I'm thinking of you. I hope you're safe. I hope the power holds up better than anticipated. And for the southern areas getting snow, stay home, stay safe. I know it's tough to deal with when you don't have, when your public DPW road crews don't have what they need to work with. So that's the giant elephant in the room in most of the United States today. So we dealt with it, and now we can talk about stitching. This should be a pretty quick video. I don't have a lot to show you, but I have quite a bit of progress on the pieces that I worked on. I should say I don't have a lot of pieces to show, but I have quite a bit of progress on the pieces that I do have to show you. So first up is the fact that I finished my Blessing Sampler, which is Hope Sings by the Drawn Thread. And here's what it looks like. The light seems to be pretty good in here today. I think you're getting a pretty good visual of that. This is stitched 1/1 on 20 count Vintage Country Mocha by Zweigart, 20 count Ada, with all the called for floss, which is a mixture of Classic Colorworks, Gentle Arts, and DMC. I got this when it was an exclusive on the Homespun Needleworks group run by Julie Kersavi on Facebook. So I got all the supplies, came as a full kit, got the chart, all the supplies, and the finishing kit as well. So I love it. This is where it is. I am thinking about personalizing it just a little bit more. My, excuse me, I'm going to mute my phone here. My one grandfather, my dad's dad, loved chickadees, and he had several in his, that would come to his backyard feeders, and he had one that would come up and sit on his hand. So I may somehow work his initials in there and have it be a little bit of a remembrance for my Grandpa Charlie. But that's my finish. It's the only finish that I do have right now. But I have a start that's almost a finish and has to be finished by the end of the month because it's my Whip Go call, which is the Mill Hill Ornament Kit, and it is Joseph. And this was one of my Whip Go calls for January. So I hadn't started him when we met last time. I've got him started. All the stitches are done. I just have to do the beading. And there he is. He's on using all the kit materials, the perforated paper, all the DMC included, and I'll be using the Mill Hill build beads included. So he should be a finish the next time we get together. I'd kind of put off starting him because I was supposed to travel to Iowa this past week, and perforated paper is always a good option for me if I'm in a hotel. I don't need super great light, it's easy to see the holes and stuff. But my trip was canceled last weekend, so I started him while we were watching football last weekend, got all the stitching done, and just waiting for me to do the beads, which I hope to get to this afternoon. And so my work piece, my travel piece this week was Winter's Cardinal by the Stitch Crypt. This is from her Patreon. It was, I believe it was the January chart for her Patreon members. So I went and joined and got it. I have canceled my Patreon membership. I did get her November, when I signed up, her November chart was still available. I got the December chart, and my 30 days carried over, so that I also got her January chart. So I think it was like $10. So, I mean, really, it was a great value, and I'm going to kind of, well, I shouldn't be doing that a lot because I am on a no-buy this year, no-buy year this year. Just trying to use what I have and shop my stash. And, but if there's something that I really have to have that's a Patreon chart, I may join for 30 days and go from there. But I am stitching this 2/2 on 32 count Belfast in the color Whirlpool by Picture This Plus. And I'm using the called for DMC, and that's where I'm at. Now you guys did see this. I had started it last time. I just continued working on the branch. I got this whole side here done. It's a little bit brighter than is showing up on camera. I think brighter is a good word, but I'm really liking how this is coming out. And probably switch from this being my work piece because we do have the February with Go calls. But I'm not going to start my ornaments until February, so this will have a couple more days of work. Got a couple more shifts this week before the 1st of February. And then, so the last time we talked, my whip wheel had landed on Peacock Tapestry by Teresa Wensler, and I told you guys I had purchased the PDF for that from Everything Cross Stitch. I unfortunately didn't get any stitches in, so I don't really have anything to show you guys with that, but I did get the chart into Markup RXP. It went in pretty well. I had to assign the DMC colors manually because it's a lot of blends, and things didn't line up real well for the chart to recognize, or the software to recognize from the key what the colors were. But I did get that all done. I got all my progress marked off, so I'm good to go the next time I want to work on that. And I hope to get some actual stitches in that this year. The other thing that I told you guys that I wanted to do that I really don't have anything to show is that I wanted to pull out the part of the border I had started at the Queen City Stitch Retreat for the 4 Seasons in My Garden piece by Mirabilia that I want to do as a mini mirror and do them all on one piece of fabric. So I got that done, and I measured some more, and I measured some more, and even on 20 count Ada, I really don't think, I had a fat half, right? So, you know, big piece of fabric. I'm not going to be able to do what I really want to do with it and have margins that I'm comfortable with. So I did cave in against my no-buy, self-imposed no-buy. So I did cave in, and I ordered another piece of fabric from Grace Notes Fabric. I really love the color, and I want this on 20 count. So finished, it's an actual manageable size, right? I do have a couple pieces of neutrals that are like full yards in like 28 count and stuff, and I could probably get this on there, but I just don't want the piece that big. So I did cave in, I ordered the piece. She said it's 4 to 6 weeks shipping time on average for her fabric production. So should have that. Maybe I can start it like in March. So we'll see where that goes. So nothing to show you guys there. I guess I could have showed you the blank piece of fabric. But who wants to see that, right? So then for this week, my wheel picked Dream Big by the Tiny Modernist. And I'm stitching this as part of Beth the Steadfast Stitcher's his birthday book birthday Sal. I forget what it is. I'll put it down below. But anyway, I believe she had started this. I know it was one of the pieces that was on her list, but I love this piece. It's really not that big. I'm doing it on 32 count. It's going to be 5 inches by 6.5 inches. So I did pull that back out. I'm using a piece of Pansy 32 count Lagana by Picture This Plus. And here's where I'm at with that. I had a little bit done here, and I got the darker colors needed to be finished in here, and I did this whole side of the top book, and I got the book covered in on the top book. So If I can get the beading done on Joseph today, I may work on this a little bit more before I put it away and start on my next call tomorrow. I've kind of been starting them on Sundays, just kind of how I've been feeling like doing it. So that's pretty much everything I worked on. I'm really happy with the progress I got in the last 2 weeks. Honestly, that getting Peacock Tapestry, getting the chart in and the stitches marked off, that really took me the better part of a day to do. But I'm really happy. Like I said, the chart itself went in easy. It was just fiddling with the keys and assigning the colors that took me a little bit. So very happy with that. If you're thinking about buying PDFs of any, you know, a Wensler or something from Everything Cross Stitch and you have Markup RXP, it's a pretty easy process to get it into the into the software. So just a tip, you know, if anybody was curious about that. And then the other thing that I do have another start, but it's not a stitching start. And you guys know I've been talking for a while now that I'm interested in knitting socks. I've flirted with knitting on and off for a long time, and I just, you know, I've tried knitting sweaters and I get bored and put it aside and don't ever go back to it. So I thought maybe knitting socks would be a good option. They're small, right? So to get myself back into knitting and get myself comfortable again, I found a book a while ago, and this doesn't look like much, but this is what I've got done. It's about 8 inches, and it's just a rib, and it's but it's going to be, I'm making a pair of fingerless gloves. I found a beginner pattern for that, and it's been fun, and it's got me feeling much more comfortable with my skills again. So I've got, you can see here, I worked on this for a while last night, and this is in a 4-weight yarn, so I guess that makes it a light worsted, right? I've got to get used to the yarn terminology again. And it's the Hobby Lobby brand of yarn. It's a low pill. I forget what their brand is, but the color is Berry Medley. So might work on this a little bit more. This is nice because it's easy to work on when I don't want to. You know, my eyes are tired. It's bigger. I can work on that. So hopefully I'll get these guys done, and then I can move on to my ultimate goal, which is a pair of socks. And let's see. I'd show you a picture, but I don't have a picture of the finished project. The book doesn't have a really good picture of them. So that's where we are with what I've worked on. So we can talk about plans. Pardon me if I'm a little scattered and leaving things out. I went up to my mom's this morning, spent quite a bit of time. She needed a new Fire Stick on her TV, so getting her set up. And I've only had half a cup of coffee, so I may be just a little out of sorts so far. But anyway, so now we're up to plans. And just as I was getting ready to start recording this, I had a notice pop up on my phone, and Jessie Marie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff posted the February WIPGO numbers a bit early. She did that because she's in Virginia and she's not sure what her situation with this storm is going to be. Hopefully she's in the area that gets snow, and hopefully her power stays on. But she did post the numbers, and the numbers for February are 5 and 22. So for that means 2 new ornaments. And ornament number 5 is a Satsuma Street kit. This is Turtle Doves, so that'll be fun. I love the colors in this one. So, and she always has a really nice amount of beads and sequins, so that'll be fun. I do have it as a kit. It's easier for me to buy the kits for that. And then the other ornament for me for this month is the Shepherd's Bush ornament called Baby Slept, and it's from the 2007 Just Cross Stitch ornament issue. And here's what that's going to look like. There. Trying to get it so the glare's not that bad. There we go. So that's what that's going to look like. This shouldn't be too bad. On 32 count fabric, it's less than 3 inches square, and you can see there's a lot of knot space that's not stitched in there. So I should get that kitted up this weekend. And we've got a whole nother full week of January, but I'll have it ready to go when February gets here. And then I did spin my decision wheel again, and it shows Elizabeth Isles, if you can see that. It's a little blurry, but so that was what it chose. And Elizabeth Isles is by the Scarlet Letter, and it looks like this. And I know I talked about it during my whip parade. I'm only doing this top section with the bird and the flowers. I'm not real keen on the verse, just not my favorite, and I don't feel like recharting anything. And I haven't decided. I think I can easily pull the border up, or I may just leave it with this border with the cherubs around 3 sides, and leave this section in here as the bottom border. I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure it out as I go. So that's that. And here's where I'm at as my starting point with Elizabeth Isles. I'm stitching this 2/2 on a piece of 30 count hemp even weave by Jackson Fabric Arts. They're on Etsy. I will link them below. They were on a vacation the last time I looked, so but of course if they are, you can get a notification when they come back. Her fabrics are beautiful. This is a color called London Fog, and it's blowing out a little bit with the light, but it's a real pretty pinky brown, blue, gray, kind of old, grungy, in a good way, kind of looking fabric. Let's see, maybe if I come up close with that. So there's the one corner and part of the top border. And I'm using the Roxy Flossco conversion for this. So kind of enthused to get back to that. It's always fun to work on. So that'll be good. That's pretty much my plans. I'm going to work some more on my knitting. The only downside to that, it does take away from stitching time, right? But with the weather forecast for tomorrow, I should have a good crafting day. I'll have to help my husband with the snow a little bit. It's supposed to start here in the morning and snow throughout the day, so we'll probably go out a couple times so we don't have a huge amount to move at once. Other than that, life stuff, it's been an eventful week. My work trip was canceled because our founder and CEO were a privately held company. Our founder and CEO passed away, so his services and everything were this week, and I felt it was... I've worked at 2 different companies with him. I've known him for most of my adult working life, and I really wanted to be, and his family's very involved with the company. I know the family and everything, so I really wanted to be here for the services and pay my respects. So, it was one of those times there were a couple days I didn't stitch. So up until this week, I had stitched at least an hour every day in January, and I missed 2 days, but that's going to happen from time to time, right? So I don't feel bad about that. But for now, every piece of information we have is that things are going to go forward as they have been, and we'll see what happens there. Other than that, it's winter, so we're not doing a lot, kind of snuggled in and getting through. So if you're in the path of the storm here in the States, I hope you're safe. I hope you're warm. I hope your power stays on. And if you're outside doing work to remove snow or ice, please be careful. If you're using a generator, please be careful with that. Make sure it's outside. Don't run it in your house. Make sure it's got room to vent properly. It's just, they seem harmless, but they can have some scary side effects if they're not set up properly. And for those of you who are waiting for the snow to come like we are, let's hope that it's relatively uneventful. I mean, I guess it's been quite a while here on the East Coast since we've had a big winter storm, so we kind of been spoiled. But that's it for me for now. I'm going to say so long. Keep stitching, keep warm, keep comfortable. Love ya. Bye.